the sun rises over a world you would barely recognize. This is Earth, 1 million years before the pyramids, before cities, before agriculture, before everything we call civilization. The planet spins through space, wearing a face so unfamiliar it might as well be alien. Yet this is home. This is where your story begins. The ice holds the North in its grip. Glaciers 2 miles thick crush entire mountain ranges beneath their weight, grinding stone to powder, carving valleys that will one day cradle human cities. The ice sheets pulse and breathe across tens of thousands of years, advancing and retreating in a rhythm beyond human comprehension. Right now, they sleep just beyond the horizon, but their presence shapes everything. The winds, the rains, the very temperature of the air. Where the ice relents, the world explodes with life. Africa, the cradle, the crucible, the beginning. Vast grasslands roll toward distant horizons, punctuated by clusters of acacia trees standing like sentinels under skies so clear they seem infinite. These are not the neat savannas of modern wildlife documentaries. This is wilderness in its purest form, chaotic, abundant, merciless. Rivers carve through ancient rock, their courses shifting with the seasons, creating networks of wetlands where life concentrates in almost unbearable density. The Rift Valley splits the continent like a wound, its lakes glittering under the equatorial sun. Around these waters, ecosystems layer upon ecosystems. Forests thick with prehistoric trees give way to marshlands, which dissolve into grasslands, which climb into highlands, where the air grows thin and cold. Every habitat teems. Every niche is filled. And the animals are giants. Elephants move through the morning mist, but not the elephants you know. These are straight-tusked behemoths, 15 feet at the shoulder, tusks so massive they scrape the ground. They move in silence, despite their size, ghosts of impossible weight drifting between the trees. Behind them, the forest floor shows their passage, saplings crushed, bark stripped, entire sections of woodland reshaped by their appetite. In the open grasslands, herds stretch to the horizon. Antelope species that no longer exist bound across the plains in their thousands. Giant buffalo, with horn spans wider than a man, is tall grays alongside creatures that seem like nature's rough drafts. Primitive horses, extinct giraffes, relatives of modern zebras that will leave no descendants. The ground trembles with their movement. The air fills with their calls. Hippos the size of small trucks wallow in rivers alongside crocodiles. But the true rulers of this world hunt on foot. Big cats prowl these grasslands, not the lions and leopards of today, but their larger, fiercer ancestors. Sabertooth cats, their canines curved like daggers, specialize in ambush. Hyenas the size of bears patrol the margins, their jaws powerful enough to crack elephant bones. Every scavenger here is a potential killer. Every killer must watch for scavengers. The sky belongs to birds of prey with wingspans that cast shadows like small aircraft. They ride thermals up into the blue, their vision so acute they can spot a rabbit from 2 miles away. Below them, the world is a tapestry of movement, a living map of opportunity and danger. And somewhere in this violent paradise, something remarkable is happening. They move in small groups, rarely more than 20 individuals, flowing across the landscape like water finding its course. These are early humans, Homo erectus, the walker, the wanderer. They stand upright, their posture distinctly modern, even as their features remain primitive. Heavy brow ridges shelter deep-set eyes that miss nothing. Their bodies are lean, hardened by constant movement, every calorie earned through effort or wit. They are not the apex predators, not yet, but they are survivors of extraordinary capability. Watch them in the early morning as the world wakes. They emerge from a temporary shelter, nothing more than branches arranged against an outcropping of rock, a windbreak, a minimal barrier against the night. There are no permanent camps, no villages. These people are nomads in the truest sense, following water, following game, following seasons they understand through observation passed down across generations. The group consists of adults, adolescents, children. The youngest rides on its mother's hip, watching the world with wide eyes. An elder, perhaps 40, ancient by the standards of this age, carries a wooden club worn smooth by use. His face is a map of every hardship this land can offer, yet he moves with purpose. His knowledge, invaluable. They carry fire. Not in torches or lanterns, but as glowing embers nestled in a bundle of moss and bark, tended constantly, never allowed to die. Fire is their most precious possession, protection, warmth, the means to cook meat and make wooden spears harder. They did not steal it from the gods. They learned to make it themselves, striking stones together until sparks caught, nursing those sparks into flame through patience and understanding. This knowledge separates them from every other creature on this continent. The morning's work is immediate and crucial. Find water, find food. The group moves with remarkable efficiency, spreading out but maintaining visual contact, communicating through gestures, calls, a language of sounds that conveys meaning without the complexity of modern speech. They understand their environment with an intimacy impossible in our age of GPS and grocery stores. One of the men spots tracks, fresh, large, predatory. The group pauses, reading the earth like a book. Not sabertooth. The prints are wrong. Something else. Something even more dangerous. They adjust their course without discussion, maintaining distance from the hunter's territory. This is not cowardice. This is wisdom. Near a riverbank, they find what they seek. A partially eaten carcass, perhaps a wildebeest brought down by lions in the night. The big cats have eaten their fill and moved to shade, leaving the remains for the scavengers. But the humans arrive first. Working quickly, they use sharp stone flakes to slice through hide and muscle, extracting meat, cracking bones to reach the marrow inside. Their tools are crude by modern standards, but perfectly functional. Rocks shaped through deliberate strikes, each flake sharp as surgical steel. Some of these stones were carried for days, prized possessions too valuable to abandon. The work is bloody, difficult, dangerous. Vultures circle overhead, growing bolder. Hyenas appear on the periphery, snarling, testing the humans' resolve. The men shout, waving their arms, throwing stones. The standoff holds. They take what they can carry and retreat, moving quickly away from the kill site. To linger is to invite confrontation they cannot win. Midday arrives with brutal heat. The group finds shade under a cluster of acacias, resting through the worst of it. This is time for maintenance, sharpening tools, tending to injuries, the social grooming that bonds the group together. Children play at hunting with stick spears, learning through imitation. An adolescent practices fire starting under the watchful eye of an elder, failing, trying again, understanding that this skill might one day save their life. The landscape around them pulses with light and heat. Insects drone in the grass. A herd of antelope moves past in the distance, their movement creating dust plumes that hang in the still air. The humans watch, always watching, cataloging, remembering. That herd travels the same route every few days. That waterhole dries in the hot season. Those berries are edible. Those will kill you. Knowledge accumulates across lifetimes. Survival information passed down through demonstration and mimicry. As afternoon stretches toward evening, the group moves again, heading toward a familiar camping spot. A place with good visibility. A small cave where fire smoke can vent. Access to water. They have been here before. Will be here again. Their territory is vast, but certain locations are anchored points in their endless journey. They gather firewood, more than they need, building a stockpile. As darkness approaches, the landscape transforms. The sounds change. The predators wake. Roars echo across the plains. Big cats announcing their territories, warning rivals, calling to potential mates. These sounds carry for miles, messages written in frequencies that vibrate in human chests, triggering ancient instincts, fear, caution, respect. The fire grows as night falls, a sphere of light and warmth against the darkness. The humans arrange themselves around it, the children inside the circle, the adults facing outward. Eyes reflect in the firelight at the edge of visibility, curious, calculating, kept at bay only by the flames. The night belongs to others. The humans borrow a small piece of it, defended by their intelligence and their mastered element. Someone hums a low rhythmic sound, not quite music, not quite language. Others join in, creating a tapestry of tones that is comfort, community, defiance against the dark. These people do not have words for hope or faith or tomorrow, but they understand continuity. They understand that the sun will rise. They understand that survival requires the group, and the group requires trust. Above them, the sky unfolds in breathtaking clarity. The Milky Way blazes across the heavens, so bright it casts shadows, a river of light connecting Earth to infinity. These humans cannot know that each point of light is a sun, cannot know that their descendants will one day travel to the stars. But they see the pattern, recognize the seasonal shifts, use the sky to navigate their endless wandering. The children sleep, watched over by adults who will doze in shifts, maintaining the fire, maintaining vigilance. Tomorrow will bring the same challenges: water, food, safety. Next week, the group might encounter another band of humans, and the meeting could end in friendship or violence, alliance or competition. Next month, they might follow the herds into new territory, or the rains might fail and force them toward the lakes. They do not plan for years ahead. They cannot. But in their genes, in their bodies adapted for endurance, in their brains that can create fire and fashion tools and teach their children, in all of this, the future is already written. These people are not separate from us. They are us in the beginning. 1 million years ago, Earth was a planet of ice and fire, of giants and hunters, of landscapes that would vanish and species that would perish. Continents would drift, climates would shift. The ice would advance and retreat in cycles that crushed entire ecosystems. Most of the megafauna visible from this campfire would not survive. Most of the predators would go extinct. The world would change beyond recognition. But these humans, these upright walkers, these firekeepers, these survivors, they would endure. Through ice ages and droughts, through volcanic winters and climate chaos, through bottlenecks that reduced their population to perhaps a few thousand individuals, they would persist. Their descendants would spread across the globe, would develop language and art and technology, would build civilizations and discover the very atoms that compose their being. Everything we are, everything we have built, every word, every idea, every monument and machine, it all flows from these people, sitting in the firelight, watching the darkness, waiting for dawn. The fire burns low. The stars wheel overhead. The predators call to each other across the ancient plains, and somewhere in the darkness, the future takes its first uncertain steps, not knowing where it will lead, only that it must continue. The sun will rise tomorrow on this savage, beautiful world, and the walking ones will rise with it, heading into whatever comes next, carrying their fire, carrying their knowledge, carrying everything that makes them human. This is where we came from. This is the world that made us. And though 1 million years separate us from that campfire, in our cells, in our dreams, in our deepest instincts, we have never truly left.